What's up, everybody? Venom The Last Dance has hit theaters, but before we get into the movie, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future breakdowns, reviews, or the daily news. With that being said, let's get into the movie. I'm going to start it off with a quick recap of the movie with some things I wanted to cover and also one of the funniest ads I've caught in a movie. The movie started introducing Knull right off the bat as they wasted no time with that as he sends his xenophage to Earth to get Eddie and Venom as their codex. He needs that to be freed from his prison that the symbiotes put him in. We then join Eddie and Venom in the 616 universe actually as the movie picks up with those two, showing us the full No Way Home scene. We see Eddie drinking in the bar with one version of Cristo Fernandez's bartender, then he's sucked back to his Earth with the other version. So, thankfully, they don't retcon anything there from No Way Home, and Venom's multiverse joke was actually kind of funny. Eddie and Venom venture through the streets of Mexico upon their return, where they stumble upon some gang members for Venom's fuel. There's also a Crocs ad in here, which was hilarious from Venom as Eddie knocks one of the goons out with this croc. After that, we met our new characters Strickland, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, and Dr. Payne, Juno Temple's character. Strickland, he's going to the bar in Mexico to recover any trace of Venom and anything that proves he exists. Their partnership is very much he collects, in this case symbiotes, and takes him back to her to study. We also met Sadie Christmas here, who's got a little bit of crazy in her. They go down to see the newest prisoner in Strickland's underground space, Detective Mulligan, who warns them of the imminent threat, Knull. Then back with Eddie and Venom, they're engaged by the xenophage because again, they are the Codex. This is where we got our Venom horse, Venom frog, and Venom fish too, as they're being hunted by the government during this time as well, as Eddie even has to take out one of Strickland's team members during this. That incident leads to Strickland taking things to the next level. They get Toxin to come out and just talk to them instead of Mulligan, as he reveals if you kill one part of the Codex, it's useless. Eddie and Venom are lucky enough to run into Martin, who is Reef Iffens, and his family, as they offer to take them to Vegas, and we get a little road trip sequence, but a key part of it was Eddie talking about wanting to be a father. That's huge because his son, Dylan, is the key to defeating Knull, but who knows if we're ever going to see it. Anyway, they made it to Vegas and we got that hilarious double knockout from Venom to get into the casino as they gamble, or I guess you could call it super gambling, with Venom going super speed before running into Mrs. Chen, as this was no doubt a top 3 stretch of the movie right here. Their time with Mrs. Chen is cut short though, first by the xenophage, but then by Strickland and his team as they capture Eddie and Venom separately. Around the same time, Martin and his family arrive at Area 51 just before the fireworks begin. Eddie doesn't seem to be down there too long either, but he does have a brief conversation with Mulligan. That's before Strickland takes him out and puts him down. Luckily, though, Sadie Christmas and that bit of crazy I mentioned earlier had Venom on her, and chaos ensues as the Codex tracking beacon is active. Mulligan and Toxin are wiped out in an instant, and this is the attack that brought out all the symbiotes at Area 51. I'm no symbiote expert though, and with the chaos I wasn't able to catch all the symbiotes that fought here. However, it did seem like one of the xenophages got an upgrade when it absorbed and killed that blue dual-headed symbiote. There was also Lasher, who bonded with Sadie Christmas in the chaos. Then in a final stand, after Strickland is injured in all this fighting, Venom takes all the xenophages in him and sacrifices himself to take them out with him. Strickland was caught in the blast he created here too, but Dr. Payne, who seemed to bond with what I believe was Agony the symbiote, saved herself and Sadie Christmas. Venom protected Eddie as well here, so he survives, but he's only half survived, of course, with Venom gone. He goes and fulfills Venom's hope of seeing the Statue of Liberty, though, once he's cleared of all charges by the US government, of course, and it feels like maybe Venom's actually gone, and if that's the case, it also felt so incredibly unearned. Alright, now let's go ahead and get into my review before I dive into Knull and the credit scenes. The best part of this movie was, once again, the dynamic between Eddie and Venom. The somber stuff was okay, and the laughs they gave me made me care a little bit more, but it was the comedy on this front that was the strongest. They're just incredible together. The cast was another strong part of the movie, however, a few of them were misused or underused. Tom Hardy was obviously incredible, there's no question there. I thought Juno Temple was a solid addition to the cast, but I can't say I'd care too much to see her character again. Stephen Graham is actually one of the ones I'm upset is gone though, as he was incredible, as well as Chiwetel Ejiofor, who had a criminally low amount of screen time in this movie. Reese Ifans is kind of in that same boat, although considering his character, he did have a decent amount of screen time. I just wanted him to turn out to be Lizard, and it kind of felt like, they were kind of teasing us the whole time, but maybe that was just my anticipation for it, and he just ended up being Martin. But anyway, I thought the soundtrack was good too. Tequila at the beginning got the vibes going with Eddie and Venom right away, and it stayed strong throughout the movie. Although the on the nose lyrics didn't work as well at the end as they did at the beginning with Tequila, the credits were a little bit cringy. Then, when it comes to the story, that's where we hit the bumps in the road. It thrived when it was just Eddie and Venom doing their thing, being hilarious and badass. The Vegas pit stop was incredible too, but honestly, I didn't care for anything with the others. It was more so the other people's performances where their characters were just okay. The action was another strong point for the movie too here, especially that final battle, which was pretty cool. The symbiote effects in there were really good too, but they were really good throughout the movie, if we're being honest here. Outside of that, that the Venom fish, which did look a bit off to me. The visuals of the movie outside the symbiote effects, however, weren't that impressive. Finally, let's get into our two credit scenes. The first was Knull saying their protector Venom is dead and the King in Black himself is awake. The design here was okay at best, but the effects on him, once they finally showed his face, were far from it. This is either going to lead to him coming into the MCU for the fourth installment in Tom Holland's Spider Man franchise, or it's going to lead to Sony's Spider Man less Spider Man Rogue Gallery fighting the God of the Symbiotes, which would be a damn shame. I honestly don't really think Sony knows what they're going to do now, and it's very concerning. However, I do kind of like the idea of adapting the King in Black story with Knull traveling to the MCU, which he can traverse the multiverse. It would be an interesting way to still include our street level characters in a non street level story, and with the street level characters, I'm talking like the Defenders, those New York heroes. But Spidey, he has to fight them in this story, kind of like the comic, but kind of MCUified. The second one was the bartender, who I completely forgot and was taken by Strickland until I got home and I was checking my notes, escaping Area 51 after the battle and after the movie takes place. I'd originally thought, before I checked my notes obviously, that this was just the 616 MCU variant of the bartender, but I was wrong, and he's just coming out of the destruction at Area 51. There was also another spark of lightning, which I believe it came from the same canister that Dr. Payne used to become Agony, but regardless, lightning is one of the things that Knull is weak against, which was my big takeaway from this credit scene. This image here that I'm using right now is from a great bit in the comic King in Black, where Thor and Knull are going at it, and I would kill to see that in the MCU. If they're serious about doing him, let Kevin Feige bring him over for that story and handle it properly, because I just don't trust Sony. But again, this was in Venom's universe, not the MCU's 616. That was my confusion. And so that'll do it for my coverage of Venom: The Last Dance. It was fun enough, but it wasn't a very satisfying ending for the character, in my opinion. And as I said, I just have no faith in Sony to do no justice. Let me know what you thought of the movie, though, down in the comments below. Make sure you have a great day.